Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we're diving deep into something that's going to blow your mind about BTS's Jimin. Today we're talking about what Grammy-nominated producer Pdogg revealed about Jimin's vocal approach. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to understand why Jimin's voice hits different from literally every other artist out there. So let's get into it. When Pdogg, the legendary producer behind BTS's biggest hits, sat down to talk about working with the members, he dropped a bombshell that honestly changed the way I think about music forever. He said that Jimin focuses on making music that best suits his voice. Now I know what you're thinking. Okay, that sounds pretty basic, right? But stick with me, because this is actually revolutionary, and I'm going to break down exactly why this one rule makes Jimin absolutely unforgettable as a vocalist. First, let's talk about how the music industry normally works, especially in K-pop. Picture this. A company has a comeback planned. Producers create a song. The song is handed to the artist. The artist is expected to mold their voice to fit that song no matter what. High notes. You better hit them. Rap sections. Learn them overnight. Complex runs. Figure it out. This is the factory model of K-pop, and honestly, most of the global music industry operates this way too. The song comes first, the artist adapts second. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole and just hammering away until something works. And you know what happens? Artists strain their voices. They develop vocal nodules. They sound amazing on the studio version because of editing and production magic, but then live performances become this stressful battle where they're fighting against their own natural instrument. We've all seen those viral videos of idols struggling with high notes live, or their voices cracking under pressure. It's not because they're bad singers. It's because they're being asked to sing music that wasn't designed for their unique vocal characteristics. But Jimin completely flipped the script. And Pdogg noticed this from day one of working with him. When you listen to Jimin's discography, whether it's his BTS solos like Serendipity and Filter, or his full albums Face and Muse, there's this incredible cohesiveness to his sound. His voice doesn't just perform the songs. His voice lives in them. It feels natural, effortless, like he was born to sing those exact melodies. And that's not magic, guys. That's strategy. That's the result of this one rule that Pdogg is talking about. Let me give you a concrete example. Before recording the title track, Who from his Muse album, Jimin actually changed his vocal technique. But here's the twist. He didn't take lessons to hit higher notes or sing louder or do more runs. He took voice lessons specifically focused on comfort. Think about that for a second. Most artists take vocal coaching to expand what they can do. Jimin took vocal coaching to make sure what he was already doing felt good and sustainable. That's the difference between trying to impress people and trying to connect with them authentically. Pdogg has produced some of the biggest hits in K-pop history. He's worked with countless vocalists across different groups and styles. So when he specifically calls out Jimin's approach as something unique and worth highlighting, we need to pay attention. What Pdogg is really telling us is that Jimin understands something fundamental that most artists spend their whole careers trying to figure out. Your limitations are actually your signature. Your vocal color, the natural range where your voice feels most comfortable, the way your tone sits in certain registers, all those little quirks that vocal coaches might try to smooth out, those are actually what make you irreplaceable. Let's get nerdy for a second, because the technical side of this is fascinating. Vocal experts from around the world have analyzed Jimin's voice, and an opera singer from Japan discovered that Jimin can comfortably hit an A5 note. For those of you who don't speak music theory, that's 3 full notes higher than what most adult male singers can reach. It's an insane range. But here's what makes Jimin special. He doesn't just throw those high notes around to flex. He uses them when the emotion demands it. Listen to his live performance of Spring Day. That soaring high note near the end isn't there because the producer said we need a big moment here. It's there because that's where Jimin's voice naturally wants to express the overwhelming emotion of longing and heartbreak that the song carries. This is what Pdogg means when he talks about Jimin making music that suits his voice. It's not about limiting himself or playing it safe. It's about understanding that when you align the music with your natural strengths, you create something that feels inevitable. Like that note, that melody, that vocal run could only exist in that exact way because of your unique instrument. Nobody else could sing it quite like that even if they have the technical ability, because they don't have Jimin's tone, his emotional delivery, his personal connection to the material. Now let's look at the Muse album as a whole, because this is where you really see this philosophy in action. Pdogg and the production team worked incredibly closely with Jimin to craft every single track around what makes his voice special. Take Be Mine, for example. That song leans heavily into Jimin's sultry lower register with these Latin-inspired rhythms. It's not trying to make Jimin sound like Bad Bunny or whoever else is trending right now. It's not chasing viral TikTok sounds. The entire track is built from the ground up to showcase what Jimin's voice does beautifully, which is convey sensuality and warmth with a smooth, almost honey-like texture. Then you have Slow Dance featuring Sophia Carson, and critics literally describe their voices as melting like butter together. That's not just lucky chemistry, that's intentional casting. Pdogg and the team chose a collaborator whose vocal tone would complement Jimin's rather than overpower it or clash with it. Everything is strategic. Everything serves the purpose of making Jimin's voice shine in its most authentic form. And guys, this approach extends beyond just the recording studio. According to people who've worked with Jimin, he doesn't just show up to a session and sing what's on the page. He studies music obsessively. He analyzed 2000s pop vocal styles from dominant artists of that era. He breaks down what made singers like Justin Timberlake or Usher connect so deeply with audiences. But he's not trying to copy them. He's understanding the principles behind their choices and then filtering that knowledge through his own unique vocal identity. This is next-level artistry. This is what separates someone who can sing from someone who is a true vocal interpreter and storyteller. Pdogg's observation also explains something that ARMY has been saying for years. Jimin's live performances are consistently incredible. Like, scary consistent. And the reason is actually really simple when you understand this philosophy. When you're singing music that was designed for your voice, you're not fighting a battle every single night on stage. You're not straining to reach notes that sit uncomfortably high or low. You're not trying to recreate a heavily auto-tuned studio version that was never realistic to perform live anyway. You're just showing up as yourself and letting your natural instrument do what it does best. This is why Jimin can deliver those iconic high notes live while doing full-out choreography. His body isn't working against his voice because the music was never asking him to be something he's not. Think about the Who performances we've seen. The man is dancing, hitting every beat, and still delivering those vocals clean and powerful. That's only possible because the song sits in a range and style that feels natural to him. There's also something kind of rebellious about Jimin's approach when you really sit with it. The K-pop industry is built on this idea of molding trainees into whatever the company needs. You spend years being shaped to fit a specific image and sound. Versatility is valued above almost everything else. You need to be able to switch concepts and genres at the drop of a hat. And sure, there's value in being well-rounded. But versatility without authenticity is just performance. It's impressive to watch, but it doesn't move you emotionally. Jimin chose authenticity. He basically said, "This is my voice. These are my strengths. Let's make music that celebrates that instead of trying to sandpaper away all my unique characteristics to fit some generic mold." And Pdogg, as the producer, recognized the brilliance in that choice and supported it fully. That's the kind of creative partnership that produces legendary music. When you look at Jimin's entire body of work, you see an artist who has stayed remarkably true to his vocal identity while still exploring wildly different genres and concepts. He does R&B on Filter. He does pop perfection on Like Crazy. He gives us emotional devastation on Serendipity. He brings Latin vibes on Be Mine. And somehow all of it sounds undeniably like Jimin. You could play me 5 seconds of any of those songs, and I'd know immediately who's singing. That's not because he's limiting himself creatively. It's because he found the sweet spot where his natural abilities and artistic vision intersect, and he explores that space fully while taking different creative routes through it. Pdogg's production philosophy supports this perfectly. He's not trying to make Jimin sound like whatever's currently trending on Spotify or topping the Billboard charts. He's trying to make music where Jimin's voice is the main event, where every production choice, every instrumental layer, every harmony is in service of highlighting what makes that voice special and irreplaceable. Let's talk about what this means for the music industry and for artists who are watching this video trying to find their own path. The traditional model tells you to be everything to everyone. Expand your range constantly. Learn every style. Be ready to pivot whenever trends change. And look, there's value in developing your skills and being professional. But Jimin and Pdogg are proving that there's actually way more power in knowing exactly who you are as an artist and having the courage to not compromise on that. When you make music that truly suits your voice, you create something that nobody else can replicate. There are literally thousands of talented singers in the world who can hit high notes. There are probably hundreds who can hit the same notes Jimin can. But there's only one person who sounds like Jimin. There's only one voice with that specific tone, that emotional quality, that ability to convey vulnerability and strength in the same breath. And when you build music around those unique qualities instead of trying to fit into a predetermined box, you become unforgettable. The other beautiful thing about this approach is that it's sustainable long-term. Vocal strain and burnout are absolutely massive problems in the music industry, especially in K-pop where artists are performing constantly, sometimes multiple shows in a single day. But when you're working with your natural voice instead of constantly pushing against it, you can maintain a longer, healthier career. Jimin has been performing at the absolute highest level for over a decade now, and his voice keeps getting better. It's maturing and evolving instead of deteriorating. That's proof that this philosophy works not just artistically but practically for longevity. Pdogg's comment also gives us insight into what makes a great creative partnership. The best collaborations aren't about a producer forcing their vision onto an artist or an artist demanding the producer do exactly what they say. The best work happens when there's mutual understanding and respect. Pdogg understands Jimin's voice deeply. Jimin trusts Pdogg's production instincts completely. And together they create music that serves the song, honors the artist, and ultimately connects with listeners on a profound level. This is why Muse feels so cohesive as a project. Every element is in conversation with every other element, and Jimin's voice is the centerpiece that everything else is built around and designed to support. From the instrumental choices to the song structures to the featured artists, nothing is random. Everything is intentional. There's something almost meditative about how Jimin approaches his craft based on what we're learning from Pdogg. Instead of chasing external validation or trying to prove he can do absolutely everything, Jimin seems to have reached this place of deep self-knowledge. He knows what his voice can do. He knows what moves him emotionally. He knows what feels authentic versus what feels like he's just going through the motions. And he has the courage to say no to opportunities that don't align with that truth, even in an industry that constantly pressures artists to say yes to everything. That level of artistic integrity is genuinely rare, and is a huge part of why his music resonates so powerfully with millions of people worldwide. When fans talk about Jimin's voice being comforting or healing, they're responding to that authenticity. You can hear the difference between someone singing from a place of genuine truth versus someone just technically executing a vocal line. Jimin's voice has this quality that feels intimate and personal, like he's singing directly to you in your bedroom, because he's always singing from a place of real emotional connection to the material. And that connection is only possible when the music was designed with his specific qualities in mind from the very beginning. What's really interesting is how this philosophy has influenced other artists and producers in the industry. We're starting to see more conversations about artist-centric production rather than trend-centric production. Young producers are taking note of what Pdogg accomplished with Jimin and asking themselves, how can I bring out the best in this specific artist rather than just recreating whatever sound is hot right now? This shift could genuinely change the landscape of K-pop and pop music in general. Imagine an industry where every artist gets to sound like their most authentic self instead of everyone chasing the same viral moment. The ripple effects of Jimin and Pdogg's approach are already being felt. When Muse dropped, other artists started talking more openly about the importance of finding songs that suit their voices. Vocal coaches began emphasizing comfort and sustainability alongside technical skill. Fans became more educated about what makes a voice truly special versus just technically proficient. This one simple rule that Pdogg revealed is actually sparking a broader conversation about artistry, authenticity, and what it means to have a lasting career in music. And let's be real, the commercial success of Jimin's solo work proves that this approach doesn't just create better art, it also connects with audiences on a massive scale. Muse debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, who became a global hit. The streaming numbers are insane. Fans aren't just casually listening, They're obsessively replaying these songs because there's something in Jimin's delivery that keeps pulling them back. That's the power of authenticity. When you hear someone being genuinely themselves, not performing a version of themselves they think you want to see, it creates this magnetic pull that transcends language barriers and cultural differences. Now here's something that blew my mind when I really started thinking about it. Jimin's approach actually makes him more versatile, not less. Because when you're working from a place of vocal truth and comfort, you have more energy and creativity to explore different genres and emotions. You're not exhausted from constantly fighting against your natural instrument, so you actually have more freedom to experiment. This is why Jimin can go from the vulnerability of serendipity to the confidence of filter to the rawness of Set Me Free PT2 and make all of it feel equally authentic. The through line isn't the genre or the production style. It's Jimin's voice being honored and centered in each song. Think about legacy for a second. When we look back at the greatest vocalists of all time, the ones we remember aren't necessarily the ones with the biggest range or the most technical tricks. We remember the ones who sounded like nobody else. Aretha Franklin, Freddie Mercury, Whitney Houston, Amy Winehouse. What made them legendary wasn't just technical skill, it was that unmistakable quality where you hear 3 seconds of their voice and you know exactly who it is. That's what Jimin is building. That's the legacy this philosophy creates. And Pdogg, by supporting and amplifying Jimin's natural gifts rather than trying to mold him into something else, is helping create a voice that people will remember for generations. Another aspect worth considering is how this approach affects the emotional intelligence of Jimin's performances. When you're not spending all your mental energy trying to hit notes that don't come naturally, you have so much more bandwidth to focus on the storytelling, the nuance, the emotional delivery that turns a good performance into a transcendent one. Watch any of Jimin's live stages, and you'll see what I mean. He's not just singing the lyrics, he's living them. Every facial expression, every gesture, every subtle variation in tone is in service of a story he's telling. That's only possible when the technical aspects of singing feel effortless because they're aligned with his natural abilities. And here's where it gets really interesting for the future of BTS. With the group's comeback happening in March 2026, we're about to see how this philosophy translates when all 7 members are working together again. Jimin has spent his solo era really honing in on what makes his voice unique and what kind of music brings out the best in him. Now he's bringing that self-knowledge back to the group dynamic. Imagine how powerful it's going to be when all 7 members show up with that same level of clarity about their individual strengths and how they can best contribute to the collective sound. I think Pdogg's insight here is ultimately a masterclass in artistic wisdom that goes way beyond just music. We live in a culture that constantly tells us to do more, be more, stretch ourselves thinner across every possible opportunity. Hustle culture says you need to be good at everything. But Jimin's approach is this beautiful reminder that sometimes the real path to greatness is going deeper instead of wider. It's about mastering who you are rather than exhausting yourself trying to be who you're not. It's about finding collaborators like Pdogg who see your inherent value and want to amplify it rather than completely reshape it into something else. And most importantly, it's about trusting that your authentic voice, in all its unique, perfect glory, is not just enough. It's everything. It's what makes you unforgettable. So the next time you listen to Jimin's music, I want you to listen with this in mind. Notice how natural everything feels. Notice how his voice never sounds strained or uncomfortable. Notice how every song, despite covering different genres and moods, still sounds unmistakably like him. That's not an accident. That's the result of this one powerful rule. Make music that suits your voice. Trust your unique instrument. Build around your strengths instead of constantly trying to fix your so-called weaknesses. Jimin and Pdogg have cracked the code that so many artists spend their entire career searching for, and honestly, the fact that Pdogg shared this insight with us is a gift. It's a reminder that in an industry obsessed with trends and viral moments and constantly chasing the next big thing, the most powerful move you can make is to be undeniably yourself. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. What do you think about Pdogg's revelation? Do you hear Jimin's music differently now? Have you noticed this quality in other artists you love? Or is Jimin unique in this approach? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our content. I'll see you in the next one. Peace!